No, I'm good. I mean, listen, okay, you're going to do this on your own and you're going to be fine.
Right.
And you're not going to worry about what anyone thinks and has to say.
Cope and cope and cope until you can't anymore. And I finally hit my brick wall. I couldn't cope anymore. And
I am excited. I usually don't get excited until it's closer. To me, it still seems so far off, but
Do you guys have a date?
we do. I'm not going to share it, though.
Okay.
Somebody's got babies on the brain, perhaps?
No.
Oh,
I'm not pregnant, y'all. Please cut it out.
NBA overnight, the Boston Celtics officially suspending their head coach, Ime Udoka, for the entire season after he reportedly had a consensual relationship with a team staff member. TJ is here with more on this. TJ, they say that he violated a code of conduct.
They say your past always finds a way to come back around, but nobody expected this. Word on the street is that Taraji P. Henson might be pregnant with Nia Long's ex-fiancé, Ime Udoka's baby. Yes, that Ime, the same man who humiliated Nia with that workplace affair that cost him his NBA coaching job. And now, fans are saying Taraji's latest move might be one of the coldest betrayals in Hollywood's girl code history. But this isn't just another celebrity rumor. This story goes deep, tying into years of tension, career rivalry, and heartbreak that's now boiling over in the spotlight. They say in Hollywood, loyalty has an expiration date. And for Nia Long, that date just came crashing down. The internet is on fire with whispers that Taraji P. Henson, yes, that Taraji, is allegedly pregnant, and the father might be none other than Eme Udoka, Nia Long's ex-fiancé, the same man who humiliated her in front of the world with that infamous cheating scandal. It's the kind of twist no one saw coming, and the kind that cuts deeper than gossip. Because this isn't just about who's dating who. It's about friendship, respect, and the painful reality of watching someone you once worked beside, smiled with, and maybe even trusted step right into the arms of your heartbreak. Fans are calling it Hollywood's ultimate betrayal, not just because of who's involved, but because of how personal it feels. Nia and Taraji have known each other for years, shared sets, shared circles, even shared struggles as two powerful black women who built their empires from the ground up. And now, the idea that Taraji could be carrying Ime's child? It's like reopening a wound that Nia spent years trying to heal. The timing, the history, the quiet rivalry, it all makes this more than a rumor. It's a story about how, even in an industry built on glamour and image, the deepest pain comes from the people closest to you. Because when fame fades and the cameras turn off, it's not the headlines that sting, it's the betrayal. And right now, everyone's asking the same question. Did Taraji just cross the ultimate line? Before the internet crowned her Hollywood's latest villain, Taraji P. Henson was everyone's sweetheart, the definition of grace, grit, and growth. Fans had watched her climb from single motherhood to superstardom, balancing red carpets and real-life struggles with the kind of honesty most celebrities run from. So when she finally announced her engagement to former NFL player Kelvin Hayden, the world cheered like it was a win for every woman who'd ever been told she was too independent to find love. Taraji glowed differently back then, smiling in interviews, laughing about wedding plans, and talking about how it felt to finally be loved the way she deserved. People weren't just rooting for her relationship, they were rooting for her peace. But like most things in Hollywood, the happiness came with a side of gossip. Out of nowhere, rumors started swirling that Taraji was pregnant. Fans thought they spotted a bump. Others claimed she looked softer, and a few even swore her glow was more than just love. Blogs ran wild with speculation, and the pregnancy headlines started flooding in faster than she could shut them down. But Taraji handled it with that signature mix of humor and attitude. She clapped back saying, "I'm not pregnant, y'all. Please cut it out. Somebody's got babies on the brain, perhaps." She later explained that the whole rumor started because she wasn't drinking at the U.S. Open. Apparently, a woman can't skip a cocktail without being labeled expecting. She even laughed about it on air, saying she was sipping a wine spritzer and just pacing herself. Still, the speculation didn't stop, and people took her fiancé's protective gestures, him holding her close, rubbing her back, as proof of some secret baby news. Taraji brushed it off, but that moment showed just how obsessed the public had become with her love life. And through it all, she made one thing clear. she and Kelvin weren't planning to have kids together. She said, "No, we're done. He still has his 3 little ones that aren't even teenagers yet. We're good." It was a simple statement, but it revealed a woman who knew her boundaries, who was content with her chapter of life, and who didn't need motherhood again to complete her happiness. Back then, Taraji seemed to have it all figured out: love, stability, and peace. But life had other plans. By 2020, the engagement was quietly called off, and suddenly the woman who once looked untouchable was back to picking up her own pieces. That's why today's headlines sting differently. Because for those who followed her story, Taraji wasn't supposed to be the scandal. She was supposed to be the survivor. The one who finally got her happy ending, not the one accused of shattering someone else's. But while Taraji was moving on, Nia Long was living through one of the most public heartbreaks Hollywood had seen in years. Just when her career was soaring again and her personal life seemed picture perfect, everything came crashing down, not because of a bad role or box office flop, but because of love. In 2022, headlines exploded with the news that her fiancé, NBA coach Ime Udoka, had been suspended from the Boston Celtics for what they called a violation of team policies. At first, no one knew what that meant. But within hours, the truth spread like wildfire. Ime had been caught having an affair with a female staff member within the organization, someone who, according to insiders, also helped coordinate travel for Nia and her son. The story hit harder than a gossip headline. It was humiliation in real time. Imagine planning a move across the country to support your fiancé's new career, only to find out through breaking news alerts that he'd been unfaithful, and not just with anyone, but with someone who'd literally been helping manage her family's life. That's what Nia faced. She had just relocated to Boston with her son, hoping to start fresh, when the story broke wide open. Suddenly, everyone had an opinion. The sports world, social media, the talk shows, and none of them were thinking about the woman or the child caught in the middle. Nia later revealed that no one from the Celtics organization even reached out to see how she or her son were coping. She said she had to pull her child out of school that same day because the whispers and stares became unbearable. Can you imagine the heartbreak of watching your son's face as he realizes his father's betrayal is trending worldwide? That's the kind of pain that doesn't fade when the headlines do. And while the NBA tried to handle it as a professional matter, for Nia, it was personal on every level. The cheating, the public exposure, the lack of empathy, it all stripped her of her privacy and dignity. Fans rallied behind her, calling her graceful and strong. But behind that strength was a woman trying to rebuild her peace while the world dissected her pain. Even Ime's defenders, including big names like Shaquille O'Neal, tried to minimize the scandal, framing it as something that happens all the time in sports. But for Nia, there was nothing casual about betrayal. Eventually, she said she and Ime reached a peaceful co-parenting arrangement, even traveling together for the sake of their son. But anyone who's ever had to forgive what they can't forget knows that kind of peace comes with scars. So for Nia, hearing Ime's name again, especially linked to Taraji, must feel like deja vu in the worst way. See, the thing is, this isn't the first time Taraji and Nia's names have been tangled in drama. Their tension goes way back to when both of them shared the screen on Empire. What was supposed to be a powerhouse moment for two Black Hollywood icons turned into a quiet storm of egos, side eyes, and whispered shade that the crew couldn't help but notice. On the surface, everything looked professional, two veteran actresses doing what they do best. But behind the scenes, insiders say the energy was tense. There were rumors that Nia was often late to set, causing delays that frustrated both Taraji and the production team. And for someone like Taraji, who carried Empire on her back as Cookie Lion, the show's heartbeat, anything that threw off the rhythm was bound to ruffle feathers. But insiders insist the rivalry wasn't just about call times or scenes. It was about legacy. Both women had fought tooth and nail to earn their place in an industry that rarely makes room for more than one Black woman at the top. Taraji had finally gotten her flowers after years of being overlooked, while Nia had spent decades being the blueprint for Hollywood elegance. When their worlds collided on Empire, the clash wasn't just about two characters. It was about two queens trying to protect their thrones. One insider even claimed that they both wanted to be the star, and since it was Taraji's show, things naturally leaned in her favor. That didn't sit well with Nia. Word around the lot was that the tension got so bad, producers started separating their scenes just to keep the peace. By the end of filming, the mood had cooled down publicly, but those close to the set say the damage was already done. There were even whispers that Nia felt disrespected by how her character's exit was handled. Some claimed she didn't get a proper goodbye, and that she was ready to take legal action over it. The crew brushed it off as a misunderstanding, but in Hollywood, misunderstandings have long memories. So when today's rumors started swirling that Taraji might be involved with Nia's ex, it wasn't just some random coincidence. It hit an old nerve. Years of quiet competition, subtle shade, and unspoken tension suddenly boiled over into something that felt deeply personal. Because for Nia, this wasn't just any woman. This was that woman, the one she once had to share screen time and spotlight with. And for Taraji, whose entire image has been about strength and independence, this new rumor threatens to make her look like the villain in a story that's been simmering for years. And now, we're back to where the internet lost its mind. The new rumor that Taraji P, Henson might be pregnant, and that the father is allegedly none other than Ime Udoka. It started as a whisper on a few gossip blogs, a blind item here, a blurry photo there, but within hours it snowballed into chaos. Fans started connecting dots. Taraji's recent loose-fitting outfits, her sudden social media silence, and a few cryptic posts about new beginnings, and suddenly the story caught fire. Screenshots, side-by-side comparisons, even baby bump breakdowns flooded timelines. Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram turned into digital battlegrounds overnight. One fan wrote, "If this is true, Taraji really violated the girl code. That's Nia's ex-fiancé." While another shot back, "Please, Nia and Ime been done for years. Taraji can date whoever she wants." The internet is calling it the ultimate betrayal, a plot twist straight out of one of Taraji's own TV scripts. People can't decide whether to clutch their pearls or grab popcorn. On one side, you have fans defending Taraji, saying she owes Nia nothing because Nia and Ime are no longer together. They argue that love doesn't follow rules, that Taraji deserves happiness too, and that the world is too quick to demonize women for dating after heartbreak. One viral post said, "So let me get this straight. Ime cheats on Nia, but Taraji's the villain for moving on with him later? Make it make sense." But the other side isn't having it. They say this has nothing to do with relationship status and everything to do with respect. For them, it's about boundaries, about not touching someone your friend once loved, especially when you know the kind of public pain she went through. One user wrote, "You can't preach sisterhood on red carpets and then end up in your friend's ex's bed. That's not empowerment, that's betrayal." And just like that, the internet divided into Team Nia and Team Taraji, both sides armed with receipts, quotes, and emotional takes. The most fascinating part? Nobody actually knows if it's true. Taraji hasn't confirmed anything. Ime hasn't said a word. But the rumor alone has done its damage. It's resurrected old wounds, reignited long-forgotten feuds, and sparked a conversation that's bigger than the scandal itself. Because at its core, this isn't just about a possible pregnancy. It's about loyalty, public perception, and how fast the court of social media can turn love into war. But here's where things get deeper, because this story isn't just about Taraji and Nia anymore. It's about how women, especially black women in Hollywood, are constantly forced to carry the emotional fallout of men's mistakes. Think about it. When the Ime Udoka scandal first broke, who were the people defending him? Big names like Shaquille O'Neal, Matt Barnes, and Stephen A. Smith all came out saying things like, "It's not that serious," or "This kind of thing happens all the time in sports." They brushed it off like it was just locker room drama, never once acknowledging what it meant for the woman and child caught in the middle. Meanwhile, Nia was left to face the public humiliation alone. No one publicly stood up for her dignity or the pain her family was going through. And now, with Taraji being dragged into the conversation, it's happening again. The spotlight is on the women. The whispers are about their choices, their reputations, their loyalty. Ime, The man at the center of all of it stays silent. No statements, no interviews, no accountability. Just another day of letting women take the hits for his actions. That's the double standard we keep seeing play out over and over. When a man cheats, the world calls it a mistake. When a woman gets involved, even tangentially, she's branded a homewrecker, disloyal, or desperate. And for black women, that judgment cuts even deeper. Taraji and Nia aren't just celebrities. They're symbols. They've both spent decades being strong, outspoken, unbothered, resilient. But the second there's a crack in that armor, the same audience that once called them queens starts tearing them down. It's the strong black woman curse in real time. People celebrate your strength but punish your humanity. So while the internet's having fun debating whether Taraji's really pregnant or not, the bigger question is, why are women still the ones left carrying the shame, while men like Ime get to disappear until the next coaching job comes along? Why do we still measure a woman's worth by how respectful or loyal she is to another man's mess? This isn't just about gossip. It's about power, perception, and how the public still treats women's pain as entertainment. And maybe that's why this story hits so hard. Because deep down, it's not just about betrayal. It's about how much grace women are expected to give, even when the world gives them none in return. As the dust begins to settle, at least for now, maybe the real story isn't about who's right or wrong, but about two women trying to heal in very different ways. Nia Long has been remarkably transparent about her healing journey since the Ime Udoka scandal. In interviews, she's talked about therapy, motherhood, and the importance of not letting betrayal define your worth. One of her most powerful quotes came not long after everything fell apart. She said, "You can't heal your trauma until you stop pretending it didn't hurt." That one line hit people everywhere because it reminded us that even the strongest, most glamorous women bleed beneath the surface. Nia's been focusing on peace, showing up for her son, and finding joy again after being blindsided in front of the world. She's been candid about rediscovering herself, not as someone's fiancé or victim, but as a woman reclaiming her own narrative. You can feel that quiet strength in her posts, her interviews, her energy. It's healing that doesn't need validation. It's internal, spiritual, and deeply personal. Taraji, on the other hand, has always represented resilience of a different kind. She's the fighter, the one who built her career from the ground up as a single mother, who turned pain into power, who made strong black woman more than just a trope. She's been open about her battles with depression, about losing faith in love, and about putting herself first after years of giving so much to others. For her, strength isn't about silence. It's about survival, about moving forward, even when the world tries to drag you backward. So maybe, just maybe, both women are fighting different battles. Nia's searching for peace, Taraji's chasing freedom. But somehow, Ime's name keeps pulling them both into the same storm. And that's the tragedy of it all. Two women who've carried themselves with grace, now caught in a cycle neither of them deserves. In the end, whether the rumor is true or not almost doesn't matter. What matters is how quickly the world forgets that these are real people with real emotions, trying to protect their peace in an industry that profits from their pain. Maybe the real takeaway isn't who's pregnant or who's petty. It's how both Nia and Taraji are still standing, still shining, even while weathering a storm that was never truly theirs to begin with. It's sad, really, how two of Hollywood's strongest, most talented women keep finding their names tangled up because of the same man. Nia Long and Taraji P. Henson have both built legacies bigger than scandal. They've broken barriers, inspired generations, and proven that black women can dominate in an industry that rarely gives them the credit they deserve. And yet, here we are again, headlines, speculation, gossip blogs, all reducing them to the same storyline orbiting around Ime Udoka. It almost feels symbolic of a bigger truth, how even the most powerful women can still end up defined by the chaos men leave behind. Nia is still trying to protect her peace, and Taraji's just trying to protect her happiness. But in the public eye, it's all one messy narrative. Because when it comes to women, especially in Hollywood, people rarely separate the personal from the professional. The same society that cheers them on for their strength also can't wait to pick apart their vulnerabilities. And that's the heartbreaking irony. The stronger they appear, the more people look for cracks. Both of these women deserve better than to be headlines in someone else's downfall. They've earned a right to move forward, to love again, to heal in their own time and in their own way. But once again, social media has turned their humanity into a spectacle. Maybe that's what hurts them most. Not the rumors, not the betrayal, but the reminder that no matter how far you climb, the world will still try to define your story for you. So maybe this isn't just about celebrity drama. Maybe it's about how we, as a culture, treat women who are simply trying to live without being labeled. Because at the end of the day, the question isn't really about who did what. It's about why the world loves watching women battle over men who've already proven they don't deserve them. But I want to hear from y'all. Did Taraji cross the line? Or is Nia holding on to old wounds that should have been left in the past? Is this about betrayal or just bad timing that looks worse from the outside? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, because this one's got Hollywood and the entire internet completely divided.